y'all up. Welcome to the channel, man. I appreciate y'all watching and listening and coming back and rocking out with Hood Films. You see, we got the shirts for the winter, for the fall. We got the hats, official thick. Look at the quality of that hat, man. Look at the thickness on that. That's how we do it, Hood Films. That's why it's $100 a hat because that's quality and it lasts a long time and it costs a lot to make and it lasts forever. Look at this. Beauty. This thing that lasted so long. You can also get one with the signature on the back. So we got the actual shirt, we rocking out. So anyway, I just wanted to hit y'all up with the idea from that movie, Deliverance, and I liked it. It was good. It was like a lot of people going crazy about Tyler Perry content. I'm sorry, Lee Daniels content and how it's like consistent with roughness and tough afternoons and realities for Black people in those movies that he put out. But I want to talk about the fact that his movie was good. You know what I mean? It still was good, and it had like the lady was like a half breed, which is like half black, half white. And I just came back from Minnesota. It's literally a whole state of humans like that. Like everybody in that place is like that. Like not everybody, obviously, it's a lot, but when you're talking about black people like me, there's a lot of people that go down there, have children, and there's a lot of people walking around that's black and white at the same time. So when you see a movie like that, and that's the main character, and they even talk about that and make that an issue inside the movie. And also, you got the girl, it's the mother. The mother actually originally was a black woman, but for filming purposes and for Hollywood purposes, they switched it out for a white woman, which is Glenn Close. And I know Glenn Close is like a lot for some young people. They'd be like, "Who is this white lady?" But when I was young, she played in one of the biggest movies of that time, and it was called Fatal Attraction. And the movie was like extremely good. I mean, and then what made it good though is that she's a really good actress because you could even see in this movie the dynamics that she had to play from like a hood white woman to a demon in the end. It's like, what the fuck just happened? So you could see the lady got a lot of range and shit. So I see why they switched it out and made her be the key actor for that scene. But it was kind of off putting because it's like supposed to be a black woman who was the person, but they switched it out and made it like a half black white woman, and they also had a white mother. So a lot of people don't like that because they switching out black actors for white characters, and but some people won't do that. Making movies, directing is crazy, and it's the person that's actually behind the scenes that's creating all this stuff that's gonna make that decision. So it looked like that Lee Daniels wanted to go with that, but I'm gonna say it worked because you talk about Glenn Close, the lady played in that movie Fatal Attraction, which is probably in the 80s now. I mean, I was a young ass kid watching that movie. So, but in that movie, that lady Glenn Close, she was just an innocent white lady in the movie. But by the time the movie was at the end, she was fucking mental. I mean, real mental, and it was scary watching it. I remember that was one feeling I had watching that movie as a man. I'm a boy, but I was a kid. But as a man dating a woman, and your woman go that crazy on you, it was like, God damn. And then I remember seeing that lady in movies like after that, and I always was remembering like she crazy as a motherfucker. And so for him to choose her for this scene in this movie, I think he probably had the same feelings I had back in the day. He a little older than me, but seeing her play that character, because then you could see how she transitioned from the old white lady who got a black family to this crazy demonic character in this movie. It was real weird. That's why I said you're gonna like this shit. Don't let people scare you off with saying that it's black tropes and shit like that in the movie. Get out of here with that. That's not true. This movie is a little less of that. Now, of course, verbally they might say this or say that, but that's not what the movie is. This movie is way better than that. And the storyline with the possession and all that shit, the supernatural part, that to me was really fucking good. I mean, it was really good how our main character in the movie, she was able to handle it because I never seen her before. Don't mean she wasn't doing shit or she's not famous. I just never seen her in a movie before. So I was just kind of watching her follow along with it, and then she had the typical story. And I guess that's what a lot of people say. It's the typical story. Black women ain't got no money, ain't got no man, blah blah blah. But of course that's a reality for some people's lives and shit. And so that's what he dug into it. And they said he had Lee Daniels had a speech at Ohio University, the Buckeyes, and he spoke to the audience up there, and he was saying that he only does movies about what he knows, like what he remembers, like his what he knows. He says that's what he thinks will make him different from Tyler Perry. You know what I'm saying? That's like a slight quote from what he was saying, but when you look at this movie, I think Tyler Perry be a little bit more over the top with it, trying to push the envelope a lot harder with trying to put an image and an idea out there that's negative towards black men. I'm not saying that Lee Daniels don't. I'm just saying this specific movie, I didn't really see too much of that. But other than the fact that it was no black man ever represented in the movie, like it was no man in the movie, like that she didn't have a husband. And then Omar Epstein was in it, but it was very short. I thought he was gonna have more of a scene, but he wasn't. So he just was the girl boyfriend for the mother, and it was just short. You know what I'm saying? And but as far as the story was going, I was intrigued and I was engulfed and I was locked in. And then so by the time we got to the climactic scenes, because you know it was about the children having affected by it, and that to me was really big because the kids was affected by the demonic spirit in the home, and that's something that's not normal. It's odd, especially in black families. And I think that's where they really hit it on the head about because you know you got the other director who used to be the comedian and shit. He does that kind of supernatural movies and shit, but some of his movies too, you know, Jordan Peele, and it was good. They'd be good ass movies. But this one was good to me because everything happened inside the house. It was like it wasn't a one location movie, but it was like one main location for everything to go down at. And he was really trying to pull it. And I like Monique too, because for Monique to not be the main character in this movie, she really did have an impact, and she wasn't funny. She wasn't cracking jokes and shit like that, but she was really impactful in the movie. She had a what you call like a window character scene where she broke back into what was happening in her life, which could bring it forward to today. She was like the social worker. So she had a real integral part in the girl because that's ultimately they wanted to take the woman's kids because they kept, you know, she was keeping them out of school. They was coming up hit and hurt and doing weird shit after school as kids. And like I said, if you've seen movies like this, you're gonna like this. I didn't see the negative stuff that they were saying about how black men was being degraded or black women was being. That's what made me watch it because I was like, wait a minute, they did some shit like that. Let me see it. No. Now a couple of times when the demon, you know, a spirit get into the kid or the demon get into whoever, they were saying wild shit because that's what demons do. And if you watch any one of those movies that they do that from the fucking exorcist on down, the character or the person that's possessed says wild shit. You know, I remember even in The Exorcist, which came out in 1973, the year I was born, when I actually saw the movie, I probably was about 10, 11, or 9 or some shit. And I remember being a little bitty kid. And I remember like the girl peed in front of the guest. And that was like a big thing in the 80s. But what happened, the movie happened in the 70s. So by the time I saw it, they was all like, oh my God, she peed in front of the fucking white gas at the house. And then another scene in the movie, Exorcist, towards the end, she was like, forget God, I hate God, or some weird shit. And everybody was bugging out about it. You know what I'm saying? About that particular scene. So I remember it was a lot of, and that was the Exorcist. This movie came out in the 70s, but it was still people having, you know, when they put it on TV and all that shit, people were still talking about it and making big deals out of it. So this movie, I can understand where when the demon got into the girl, it was scaring people and making people feel some kind of way from what they were saying because that also happened back in the day in the movie The Exorcist, and they had like Exorcist 1, 2, 3, 4 back then. You know what I'm saying? So it was really the fact that they did that. That movie made it sensational. So whereas they did more movies, you know what I'm saying? And I watched them all. I was a kid, so it was like the shit. If you didn't go to the theater, which you didn't, they would also put them on TV. You know what I'm saying? Because there was like rated R and all that shit, so you would see the movies as they played back on TV. So I think that Netflix and Lee Daniels, they hit it over the head. Like this was a hit. This is a smash movie. When you see it, you're gonna be like, oh shit, this is good. So don't let them trick you with it's negative and it got negative statements about black people. That's not what's going on. It's a supernatural movie. It's mysterious, it's mystic, and it's shit that don't normally happen. So that's another thing about it. Like you've seen a lot of movies in your life, they don't really have supernatural movies that happen in black houses. That don't mean it don't happen. It's just that you don't really see too many movies like that. So this one was like one of its kind where it was like all happening in the household to the black family. It wasn't African either, because sometimes you'll see these movies, but the actors would be African. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what this was. They was making it more like local American, black American characters in the movie that this was being affected by. So that's why I think they was trying to roll off of the stereotypes of what stereotype was this, what stereotype was that, because they was literally using black people versus some of the characters or the main characters was African. You know what I'm saying? Because you've seen movies on Netflix where it might be a house haunted, but you think they're black people, but they are black skin, but they're not black Americans. So you watch the movie, it might be good. But my whole point about it is that this was specifically and especially black people. When you see the actual woman who the movie was about, she was an African American person like me. She wasn't half black, half white. Her mother wasn't white. You know what I'm saying? So this was Hollywood way of trying to get it more people watching and trying to bigger widen the audience by taking certain people and switch them out. So some people was mad that they put Glenn Close as the mother in the movie. You know what I'm saying? But I think that I think that from a casting aspect, that kind of was smart because you had Monique as the second lead. Like if you watch the movie, she was kind of like the next main character because the main character in the movie was virtually a nobody. Like you wouldn't know her in 4 or 5 or 10 movies. So that don't mean she wasn't good. I'm just saying she was doing her thing in this movie, not 10 movies that I'm familiar with. So so they used somebody that was white, so it wasn't kind of overshadow uh, Monique's character, who was like a social worker, and then the mother character who had a major scene in the movie. You know, she could have been a black woman, but I don't know who they would have chose because, you know, in that kind of characterization, I don't pretty much know who they would have used. Because even the supernatural woman, the woman who was doing the demonic spiritual reverend part, she could have probably played that character, but they used her in that part. So it was like they kind of designed this specifically for the audience in Netflix, and I think it worked. I just, like, it's hard to make a movie come together where everything click, and I think this one, where if you watch, that's why it's number one. Because if you actually watch it, if you watch the movie, you're gonna be like, this shit was good. It was really good. And then by the time you get to the end, I mean, yeah, I'm not even looking away. I mean, like I'm watching the words at the end, like it was that crazy, like it was that good a movie. So it's not. Don't let them tweak you and make you think it was about negativity or disrespecting some race or not. Like it wasn't that. It was the storyline, and when it get buck wild and it go crazy, that's when the demon get into. I think it was in the kid or the mother or both, the grandmother, and then they even probably even got in the main character. Like it's crazy. They snapped on this movie. I'm telling you. So if you already probably heard people talking about it or saying something about it. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents in it on it, And I talk about movies a lot, but not all the time and shit, because I'll be on other channels doing other shit. But I'm also, and you already know, Hood Film CEO, the guy that make my own joint. My movie is on Amazon Prime right now. Is also on Tubi, but they haven't made it go live yet. And I'm tweaking on them because they've had my movie for 12 months now, and they still haven't made it go live. And that's like crazy because you see some of the other people their movies come out of. But my movie is called Kill a Rapper. That's on Amazon Prime. You can look at that right now. But and just called Kill a Rapper. Just like I said it. And you're gonna love it. I wrote it, directed it. Main character is a banger. You know what I'm saying? So it's hour long, and my new joints is coming out soon. I've been working on a lot of music because I got another brand called Yusef 2 times. As a filmmaker, I just been a filmmaker my whole life. I never did music, but as I started selling my movies, I started running into musicians because music is every damn way. You know what I'm saying? So one of the guys took me to the studio and was like, "Man, you got to come to the studio with me." And I'm like, "I don't really. I go to the studio, but I'm going to film. I really have never been behind a microphone. I'm not gonna keep it all the way live." So he was like, "Man, just go with me." Young guy named Stoner Trap, and I went. And then he was like, "Boom, get on the mic." We made 2 or 3 songs. That was the first time I ever made music. So he gave me the music. So I'm driving around playing it. I'm like, "This shit is fun." So my little son is a rapper. So at one point, one Christmas time, we bought all of the equipment. So I had it at home. And I eventually asked the guy, was it the right equipment? He said, yeah. So I started making my own little music. It was fun. And then eventually I showed the guy my songs. He was like, dude, you got enough songs to make an album? I'm laughing like, what the fuck you talking about? He like, no, serious, this is what it is. It's called an EP, da, 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 da. So I put it up on the platforms and it started being like a little fun. I'm a 49-year-old guy, like at this time, 2 years ago, like I'm not making music really, right? But it was fun, the whole idea. They're making music videos, but I'm the main character versus being the guy behind the camera filming other people. So that ultimately led to me doing another album and another, and it's just been a gang of stuff, but gang of fun. So that's on my Yusef 2 times uh, platform on here, and it's on the way up. Yusef is my first name, last name is Hood. That's why it's Hood Films. So I didn't use Yusef, which is on my film company, which is why we sticking together right now. Hood Films is my last name. Hood is my last name, and so I made Hood Films. So Yusef, I decided to use my first name for the music, and it's Yusef the number 2 times. And it's so unique and ironic because we have been in Nashville, which is a lot. I'm in Nashville literally weekly, every week, because they call that Music City, and that's where the guys who introduced me to music go, literally every week. And so we've been going down there, and just that vibe and that environment. I've never seen Nashville. I'm from Chicago. I'm from the South Side. It ain't even a lot of white people on the South Side. I mean, you have to drive to where they are basically. So. Uh, uh, I started doing music, but I started making country rap music, which was unique to me. It's just fun. Like the music, the beats came in. They showed me how to get beats, and then when it came in, I was able to make music from it. And the sound is country rap, and the guys were so enamored by this because we go to Nashville. They was like, "You got to make this an album. You got to drop this." It's just like you kind of being being I don't know, led by the younger generation about the music, but it's kind of like fun to me. So I've always been filmmaking, and if I use music, it's to put it behind the scenes of a song or in the beginning of the movie. It has never been me making music. Even my movie Killer Rapper, my son is the main. My son music is the one that's on the spot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just really proud about that, about never giving up, and how filmmaking has guided me all the way to these different directions. And I'm grateful about that. So if you get a chance, you'll check me out on Yusef 2 times. But if you also get a chance on Netflix, you pull up your computer and your TV and you watch that movie. It's number one. I watched it last night, The Deliverance. I saw it up there, but I was having to go out of town. I didn't get a chance to see it. But when I saw the negativity coming behind it, it obviously made me want to watch it. Like, well, wait a minute, what's up? They trying to say this like Tyler Perry last movie? I got to see this because Tyler Perry last movie was thumbs down. I'm sorry, and so I had to look at it. Not that Maya Culpa one, but this other one he did. Maya Culpa was good as fuck. So you know the boy could do it. But when I saw this one, it was like, what the fuck is this? But this movie, man, Deliverance gonna have you, boy. I'm talking about you gonna be glued to the motherfucking screen. This movie fire as hell. I'm telling you, it's good, and it wasn't all that Hollywood dumb shit that they put into the movie today. You know what I mean? It's not overindulged with that, so you don't have to be like, oh shit, I gotta wait for this to pass. It's not like that. It's a lot of entertainment in it, and you're gonna be engulfed by it. So that's why I say, if you get a chance, go rock with this movie. It's called The Deliverance. I don't know the main girl actor's name, but she did a good job holding this movie down. It written, I mean, officially, because they really wrote this. That's why I said I don't even know if they are black writers that's behind the scenes on this, but they did give it. But dude, Lee Daniels, he was gonna guide everybody correctly so they could pull it off, and they did. And this was one. This is one that's gonna go down in history as a good one. I'm telling you, it's gonna go down. This wasn't over the top one where to make you feel like it was foul, or even when I watched Precious for the first time, there was a couple of scenes that made me like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? Just the stress of the movie. But this one didn't do me like that. I was a little less. It wasn't no stress. It was fun. It was good. It was demonic. It was a little supernatural. I think if they would have pushed this movie and came out a little bit more towards Halloween, it probably wouldn't even have the same negative effect from people. But it's September-ish, late August, so it's got this whole what is this demonic stuff doing on my TV with black people is a little different, and that's what art is. They're pushing the ball. They're doing something that's going to be shocking a little bit, but not killing you, shocking you, or throwing you off, but something a little pushy, so you can have a different mindset about what you're watching. So that's what I got on that movie. Go watch it. You might enjoy it. I think you're gonna enjoy it. Deliverance on Netflix, directed by Lee Daniels. It's a really good movie. It's fire and it's really good. And the little kids in the movie, they snap. All the little kids they good in the movie. And that's one of the things gonna keep you watching it because the kids really make it seem like, oh shit, is this really happening? And I was even watching that and thinking that. I said, damn, could this really have happened? That's what I liked about the movie. It made me wonder because I'm black. I don't, you don't see that around the hood too much. But that was definitely something that made me think like, could it be a supernatural thing that happened to these people? Like, what? That's what I think you should watch the movie for, because it might trigger that intrigue to make you think, like, could this have actually happened? And that's what the fun thing about it is, because Halloween is on the way. It might even happen in your house. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Peace. This your boy, HoodFilms. We out.